Post-college, I became disillusioned, like many people did, with the US government. Going into Iraq after 9/11, I really felt like they were not representing my values, and I didn't really buy that we were going there for democracy or for weapons of mass destruction. And that was disturbing in and of itself, but another thing that disturbed me was that people seemed to be so apathetic about it. And they didn't seem to care or notice, or they felt disconnected from things. And overall, just there was a sense of people feeling disconnected from other people, not just globally, but even in a local sense. So the funny thing was, somebody sent me the video Zeitgeist addendum saying, watch the first part about the money, but don't pay any attention to the weird stuff at the end, which really makes you want to watch the weird stuff at the end. So I started with the money section and realized, wow, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then we get to the part about the Venus Project, and I just sort of stopped and almost had to pause the film, because I was having this reaction like, oh my God, it's communism, that there's going to be an elite group controlling people, and my mind started reeling off into all these different directions that critics of the Venus Project often do. I had those reactions, but not for very long. Like, it lasted a matter of seconds, because I knew up until that point Peter had been seemingly a reasonable narrator. I was following his logic up to that point. He had the same concerns I did. He seemed to be a freedom-loving individual. Why would he lead us into this direction? And I mean, if there wasn't something else to it. So I watched the rest of it, and I really opened my mind to things, and especially the elements of the Venus Project in relation to human behavior. I realized, wow, here we have a perfect attempt, let's say, at a dynamic equilibrium between the planet and humans, and between the collective and the individual. Being in balance, because there's sort of this liberating thing that could happen if we went to a society that didn't operate on money, didn't even use a barter system, but was just an access system. And it kind of blew me away, really. I realized the secret ingredient, the secret sauce of all of this, is that if you remove the reward for exploitation, there's really no need to exploit anyone. And so there goes your elite theory. There goes the worries about what about my property. It's a whole different view of living that really gets to the heart of life, the basic principles of life. And I was stunned and really taken by that. It was a very emotional experience. I kind of sat back from my computer and I thought, you know what? This is radical, and I think maybe only me and perhaps 5 other people in the world will think this is a good idea, so it's probably not going to happen. But I like to think that it could happen, because maybe I'm romantic in that way. It is doable. I mean, I'm not saying it's utopic in that sense, that it's not achievable. In any other aspect, then I realized people would think we were nuts, and you'd need critical mass to pull it off. So I signed on to the Zeitgeist movement website. There really wasn't one, just a place to sign up. Put your email in for when there was something about a movement. And a few months went by, and then things opened up with that. And I thought, well, I'll check it out and see if anybody else had the same reaction I did. Is there anybody I can talk to about these ideas? And when I first logged on to the forum, I realized that there were, I think the number was it's over 11,000 people. I was like, 11,000 is more than 5. And that's really inspiring. So really, I can't put these ideas back in the box. This is a good idea. The Venus Project is a good idea. A global resource-based economy is a good idea. All of my ideas about the free market, I decided, were myths. And I can get into that perhaps in a whole other video, but I'll try to sum it up for you. The free market. Okay, who doesn't really want a free market, right? Because the kind of idea about that is that you would create this environment that sort of has this natural checks and balances system, where it's almost a democratic process where people are voting with their money, and we would have the most innovative products, and there would be a healthy competition, and it would all balance out, and everybody would have a fair shake and have a shot at really making it. And really, I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like that to me is myth, and the reason is because I think theoretically the idea of a true laissez-faire free market might be all of those good things that I was taught that it would be. Of course, it's never happened in history before, but it's, I can see the line of thinking that gets you there. However, there are so many factors that keep that from really being any viable option. For me, more utopic than the Venus Project, actually, and here they are. First of all, in order for that to be a true free market, in a sense that I'm thinking free market, I link freedom to equality because we have studies that that the freedom of people and all of the things that you see blossoming in the theoretical sense of a free market really happen when there's equality among people, which is not something that's factored into the actual free market principles. It's designed for inequality. For one, because people don't start out with the same amount of money or from the same class, socioeconomic class. So people automatically start out, some having more advantages than others, in a climate where you have as much freedom as your purchasing power allows. So, and that's true today. That's exactly true. Your freedom is limited to your purchasing power. The other piece of the free market myth is that you'd also have to guarantee, for that to be a true free market, that all people have the same level of education in order to evaluate products and services in the right way, in a way that they would know this is the right way, this is what I want, this is what I need, and this will meet my needs, and this is the best product or service for that. People aren't really educated in that sense. We aren't experts in all areas. We have to rely on advertisers to tell us about products, which brings me to my third point about the free market and why it can't happen because of advertisers. Because advertisers tell you what you want to hear in order to get you to buy a product. It doesn't mean it's true about the product. They don't really say, hey, here's a product that is carcinogenic, but it tastes great, They don't really give you all of the information. So you don't have legitimate information in which to make decisions about your purchases, regardless of rules and regulations of the government. The biggest kicker is that even if you had all of those things in place, right now we're at a point where technological unemployment, legitimate negative impact on our economy. Back in the Industrial Revolution, that term was bandied about, and we didn't have to worry about it. New industries opened up for people to go into, so it wasn't such a big deal that there was new technology being introduced. The problem is that now computers build computers. I even know a guy who's delivering pizzas after he built the machine that replaced his own job. I mean, this is the kind of economic climate that we're in. So you have to come to terms with looking at technology, what we know can be made. This is incredibly cost efficient for companies, so there's no reason why they're not going to go with a machine over an employee. So we've essentially constructed a system that takes the consumer out of the workplace, and then here you have no one to buy the goods. So it's really an outdated system that we have right now, and certainly the thinking that there's going to be some free market breakthrough that we're hoping for, or that everything is cyclical and it's just going to come back. It's cyclical in a planetary sense. We're ready to be extinct going this direction. So that's what I have to say about that. The Venus Project to me makes sense.